If you ever wanted to learn how to use a bladed swim jig in high pressure public ponds, I'm going to teach you. We're just going to get right into it. When you're fishing public ponds, especially pressured public ponds, you know, bladed swim jig is a really awesome lure to use. And the best time to use it is in cold water. It is really probably one of the best bass fishing lures in pressured ponds when it gets into cold water. Now, I typically fish a bladed swim jig in the wintertime all the way up through the post spawn. And once it gets hot and gets into the summertime, I typically don't use a bladed swim jig. Once the water starts to cool in the fall time, I'll go back to the bladed swim jig, especially late fall going into the winter time. Again, when that water starts to really cool off, those bass can't resist it. And I'm going to show you how to use it. So the first thing you want to do is, I'm taking a look at the pond and it's pretty clear. So, you know, in clear ponds, you know, you want to go with a lighter skirt. And since you're fishing it deep and you're slow rolling it, I like to have a black blade, or this is a gray blade. It's actually a jackhammer. It's a baby ghost gill, which I think is the best bladed swim jig for clear water. I go 1/2 ounce. That 1/2 ounce, that drop is about 1 foot per second. So we're just going to go through. I'll give you some tips to go through it. Now, if the water's murky, you want to go something on the, again, black blade. You want to go on a blacker skirt. And then your trailer, you want to beef up that trailer. You want to go to a 5-inch or 4.8-inch trailer. And again, you always want to match the trailer to your skirt color. For an example, I'm going, you know, that's kind of a, you know, I'm more on the whiter side, and then that trailer is on the whiter side. I typically go with a paddle tail. That is my personal preference. There's so many different trailers out there for bladed swim jigs. You know, it's, again, I think the trailer is all, from my opinion, is all personal preference. You know, I like a 4-inch. I think a 4-inch on a bladed swim jig, 1/2 ounce, on high pressure public ponds, I think is money. Again, I only go higher or lengthwise if it's murky water to give it that bigger profile. All right, so, well, again, we're casting out deep and we're slow rolling it, right? And I'll just give you, the biggest mistake people make is they'll cast out there, hits the thing, and they'll start retrieving it in. As soon as it hits the water, they're retrieving. That's on top of the water column. That is an absolute no-no. You know, keeping that bladed swim jig on top of the water column is not going to be successful. It's not going to catch your bass, especially, again, these high pressure public ponds. They're finicky, they're out deep, they're holding tight to structure. You got to put it in front of their face, and that's going deep. So reel this bad boy in. Now, so for this pond, I know there's a grass line out there, and again, I'm going to fish it deep. I'm going to cast as far as I can go out, and we're going to start to slow roll, and I'll give you some tips on how to slow roll it. So I'm going to cast it out there. Pretty far off. I'm watching my line, making sure no line's coming off, and I'm going to wait. Again, it's a foot per second, but I'm really paying attention to my line. How much line do I have out there? You know, okay, it's on the water. I know it hit the bottom. Now, before I start, I'm going to come back over here with actually a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do is I want that rod tip down, pointing towards that water. And the reason is, again, I want to try to keep it down to that bottom as much as possible. And I'm just going to start to slow roll it. Just start to slow roll it. And I'm paying attention to my line, because when you're slow rolling it, a lot of times you can't feel that vibration, but that tip of your rod will always vibrate as long as that bladed jig is going. So just start to slowly bring it in. I'm watching that rod tip. Again, I want to make sure that I'm barely, I'm just turning that bladed swim jig to get the vibration. I'm keeping it at the bottom, and I'm just going to bring it in. And again, what I want to do is I want to keep that rod tip pretty much close down to the water, because as I bring it in the shore, I'm bank fishing, since I'm bringing it in the shore, again, I don't want my rod tip up. It's going to bring that bladed swim jig up in the water column. You know, even at the hip, it's still going to bring it up the closer you get to the bank. So I'm really concentrating on keeping that rod tip down towards the bottom. Sometimes that rod tip will even be in the water. And I'm just slowly bringing that in. And I'm gonna slow roll that all the way up to the bank. I'm not gonna go 15, 20 feet and then start cranking it in. I'm gonna slow roll that all the way up. And you'll be surprised on how many bass you'll catch, like 5 feet off the bank, by just slow rolling it. Again, because you're not bringing it up out of the water column, you're not buzzing it up on top, you're just keeping that down at the bottom and that blade's barely turning. Again, in pressured ponds, public ponds, bass get finicky. You gotta give them time to react to it. And that's why you have to slow roll it. There's no other retrieval. I mean, you could do a retrieve and pause. That also works. But from my experience, the slow rolling a chatterbait or a bladed swim jig is really the best technique. And again, it's pretty close to the shore. I'm watching my tip, I'm watching my line. I'm probably about 10 feet off the bank. And I'm still slowly rolling it. I never pick up my pace, no matter what, until it's pretty close to my rod tip. Again, I have a 7-foot rod. I'm wading in the water and I'm out. So I'm already out 7 foot. Again, want to keep it slow. All right, we'll do. Cast it all the way out there. Watching my line. All my lines out there. And typically what I do, you know my line, watch my line on the water, make sure it's not still pushing out where it's still sinking. Now just kind of wait a couple seconds. I might wait 4 seconds, I might wait 5 seconds. It just depends how deep the pond is. And now, again, what I'm gonna do is bring that tip pretty close to that water. I can feel the vibration. I'm looking at my rod tip. It's going back and forth. And that's all it is. It's very, you gotta do slow. It's paying attention to that rod tip, paying attention to that line, making sure I get some vibration. I was pretty dang close to the shore. My rod tip is barely above the water. I'm just slow rolling it. If I want to cast onto the bank, I want to cast off to my left. And again, I know it's not deep, but again, when it's cold, it can still be pushed up, or in the pre-spawn and they're staging. I'm still gonna let it drop, I still let it sink down to the bottom, and I'm still gonna slow roll it. Right? Watching my line. It's at the bottom. It's kind of sideways, but again, my rod tip is still pretty close to the water. And again, a reason why I want that bladed swim jig at the bottom. I want to slow, and I don't want to bring it up out of the water column. Now again, if I want to even cast it even more towards the bank, I'm going to do the same thing. Let it go out there, watch my line. And I'm still going to keep it, I want to keep that at the bottom the whole way up into my rod tip. Be catching big ones all day long, son. Yes, sir. It's really a great technique. Use a lot of cattails. Bringing the cattails, like I said, bass get really finicky in pressured ponds, you know, and especially if they've seen every lure. And if they are pushed up, again, up against the cattails, it's a great ambush spot for them. If you just slowly bring that across, keep your rod tip down, keep it at the bottom, you're gonna have a great opportunity. Your success rate is gonna be higher, and it's just gonna catch a ton of bass, I guarantee you. When you're fishing in cold water, which I think, again, is an ultimate lure for cold water bass fishing, public ponds. You know, you can go, a lot of times these bass, when you're out deep, they'll just tap it. They'll just tap it. And what you want to do, if you feel a tap, just stop. Just stop. So I'm bringing it in, let's just say I'm bringing it in, and I'm slow rolling, I feel this tap, boom. I'm gonna stop. Just stop for 1 second, 2 seconds. Might just bring that rod tip just up, just enough to get a little vibration, and then I'm gonna start that retrieval again. And a lot of times when you stop, since you're on the bottom, it's gonna stop to the bottom. You bring that rod tip up just a tad where you feel that vibration, and brings it back down. That bass go boom. You're like, yes sir, a big one. That's how you do it. If you don't have any bladed swim jigs, I highly recommend you could go out and get them. Go check out my other videos. I did a haul on Temu. There's jackhammers, there's so many different types. go with a 1/2 ounce. You'll get it done. Match the skirt and the trailer to the water clarity, and you just get it done. Take your time, make sure your rod tip is down, slow roll it, just enough to get that vibration, and I guarantee you, the next time you're fishing these pressured public ponds, you'll be getting it done, son. Yes, sir. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to do all that great stuff. If you're not a subscriber, don't forget to hit that button. Don't forget the notification, greatly appreciate it. If you're already a subscriber, greatly appreciate all the support. Don't forget to check all the links down below. Go check out the membership, really helps grow the channel. Go check out the merch store, really appreciate it. And I'll catch you next time on Getting It Done Fishing.